Hey, everybody. This is our first ever guest on Mind Under Matter, and I went for it, shot for the moon, got one of our heroes, one of our biggest comic influences on the show, had such a fun time. We never knew Doug before this, so it did take like 10 minutes to kind of really start loosening up and getting the ball rolling and everything. But such a treat and pleasure to have him on the show. And we enjoyed it so much that I think that we're going to start in year 2. We're probably going to do at least 2 guests on the show, if not quarterly or something. And
always surprises.
Always full of surprises over here. So enjoy today's episode. It's awesome. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, supporting this show through our first year. It's just been amazing. We're going to be talking about what incredible fun we had making this show all of next episode for our birthday, our 1-year birthday show. But you guys are so amazing for all the support and listening regularly. So we hope you enjoy.
Keep on talking, honeys.
Welcome to Mind Under Matter, everybody. I'm Shane Mauss. This is Ramin Nazer, as usual, with me, and this is the last week of the first year of our show. It's just been me and Ramin with you guys, and now for episode 50, I decided, Doug, I have a science podcast I've done for 8 years, and in March
I was looking at it, and I saw the last few, and it was very intimidating. Like, how am I going to talk about fucking science?
Oh, you won't. I'm a comic. I got into science long after I was doing comedy full time and stuff. But
I'm 10 minutes short of finishing your documentary. I had to leave your documentary to go do this, and I was upset that I had to do this because you're just about to do ayahuasca.
Oh yeah, and you'll get to see Ramin's animation in that as well, in that story.
Yeah, and I'm a talking head in it too for like 3 seconds, where they're like, Shane does a lot of psychedelics, right? And I go, oh yeah, and then that's my part.
You've been in it. Go ahead.
I had one of my science heroes on in March, and we promised listeners we were going to have one guest on, and I was thinking about who was one of the bigger influences on my comedy life, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to write Doug and see if he'll come on. So we appreciate you coming on. Doug Stanhope is our special guest of the first year of the show, everybody. Hooray.
Thank you for having me.
I
didn't know if I already knew you, to be honest.
No, actually, we met briefly 3 times, and you wouldn't know me. Well, you saw from the documentary, I look much different now than I used to. But the first time, it was a special day. It was 2007. I was a few years in. I had won the HBO Aspen Comedy Arts Festival, and I was on a Feng Hua bus from Boston, where I started, to New York, and I got off and I got a call from the bookers of Conan that were like, hey, could you send us like a DVD or something to be on? And I was like, yeah, I'm out of town. And they're like, well, could you write it? I'm like, I don't have a computer with me. And they're like, could you just tell us what you would talk about for 5 minutes? And I did my 5-minute act on the streets of New York and Chinatown, and they booked me for the following Tuesday. And then and then I met my soon-to-be manager who was courting me, and he had tickets to see your recording at Gotham for your special. I went there, got hammered. I laughed so hard. At one point, you had to stop the show and reset because of my laugh. And then I met you afterwards, and I was very hammered. But I do remember that you were amused by how shit-faced I was rather than judgmental, which, as you know,
absolutely
isn't always the case when you're shit-faced. So that was my first memory. The second time I met you, I lived in Austin. That's where I met Ramin. I think it was your first live podcast at some little room during like South by Southwest
Red
or something.
7. No, it was just after a show. The only one I ever remember doing up until some podcast festival was the only time we tried was in Austin. And even the comics were that shit-faced. Like my own opening acts were as shit-faced as the audience. It did not air. It did not go out.
Yeah, I was there. I asked some questions and stuff. And then I saw you. The third time I saw you, you were more shit-faced than I was. I'm 2 against 1. But it was the special that you recorded in Austin. Oh,
that was bad.
It wasn't my favorite special that you put out.
No, it's terrible.
what was that channel that was a startup for a little while?
CISO.
Oh yeah, CISO. Yeah, I was there for that, and we hung out a little bit. I'm friends with Brendan Walsh, so we hung out a little bit afterwards. But anyway, so we just know each other. I know you in passing, but just been a fan for years.
That special, I was hosting it, and I thought, fuck it, I can wing it. And I hadn't been on stage in over 6 months. I can pull this off. No, you couldn't. And the whole audience was like industry douchebags because you had to have this fucking highest level pass to get in there, and it's a really small room, and you're just looking at fucking agent after manager after agent after fucking people who just want to make the scene. Worst audiences ever. And it'd been so long since I've had to perform for anyone other than my own audience.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you can talk about it so we can edit this out, but what did you just get done filming recently?
That's actually a podcast I put out. We just put it out for free on All Things Comedy. It went out in 2020. It's so.
Oh, the special. Yeah, I saw. Yeah. I'd already seen that. I mean, weren't you just shooting a movie recently?
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
It's it's called The Road Dog, and it's I'm playing a 54-year-old chain-smoking alcoholic comedian still doing fucking shitty road dates.
How did they think of you for the part?
Don't know. Crazy. But I had to do it sober, which was weird. You think you're just playing yourself, but then you go, I can't drink like I do on stage for 12-hour days to be consistent. So yeah, I had to play fucking drunk sober, which is awkward.
Do you take tolerance breaks ever, or it's boozing nonstop?
I try to. It's been a while. I'm overdue. But yeah, I'll go a couple weeks. I've tried to do sober October and never made it, but
does the vacuum be filled up when you're like giving up one vice? Does another thing fill in that space, or what normally happens with the time?
Fucking housework. Kind of like quarantine. That's what I did. I did lots of housework. Cleaning out fucking shelves and junk drawers because you can't sleep, and up all night and Netflix and sleep when you can. But yeah, after 5 or 6 days, this fucking guttural cough will go away.
Are you afraid the quarantine might be over? Are you afraid that we might be out of this and you'll have to leave?
Oh, I've been out. I've been out since August, pretty much. But I'll miss it. I'll miss it every fucking day of my life. I'll miss quarantine. It was the best time ever. It didn't feel like sloth. It felt like oh, they're going to catch me enjoying this because I really want to stay home for a year and a half and do nothing.
Yeah, and it was branded as very virtuous, at least at the first half of it. Like the more you stayed in, the least contact you had, the better of a person you were.
So Ramin just got to do the same thing he always does, but he just without the guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guilt's starting to creep back now.
I saw you have coming up. You're at the you're doing the comedy in Key West. Have you done that gig before?
I've gone down there. I know Tom Dustin.
Tom's one of my best friends. Or we started together in comedy. We got mugged at gunpoint together years and years ago, and all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, I was wondering if you had met him because you two. I would have loved to have some drinks with you two. Tom Dustin's very.
Yeah, we did some bar crawl where everyone dressed up in pajama onesies and. It's just silly, and he's a great drunk, and he's got that perfect, that Boston accent that is hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just hooked me up at the Comedy Condo. I think it was 2 years ago in January we went down. So yeah, I'll go do shows there just to go back.
Yeah. Well, Tom's such a like used car salesman type of of individual, and I figured you two would get along. I was reading in your book about all of the phone scams that you started doing. Could you talk about that a little bit? Because that I actually didn't. I don't know if I missed that in specials or something, but I wasn't aware of that aspect of your life.
Before I did comedy, when first I moved to Hollywood when I was 18 from Massachusetts, and in all the actors' rags, they'd have quarter-page ads, make $1,500 to $3,000 in your part-time, and I was just selling bullshit, telephone scams, toner and developer. That was that scam, and then when I moved to Vegas, it was just everywhere. Vegas's number 2 industry at that time was fraud telemarketing, right next to gaming. So yeah, I did that for like 5 years, from 18 to 23.
What's a usual pitch? I feel like this is something Ramin does a lot of like good like
fake business
characters.
That's a Tim Dillon line, but yeah.
It's so convoluted, but basically you tell people that they won a big prize in our sweepstakes. We did advertising specialties, which are pens and key tags with your company name printed on them, fucking over small businesses, and say, you won, you're guaranteed one of these 4 prizes. This is the basic pitch. A Cadillac, a trip for 2 to Hawaii, a widescreen TV, or $1,500 in cash. That's the worst you can do. All you have to do is place a small token order for pens for $250, $300, however much you can fuck them out of. And then they get the Hawaii vacation. In that scenario, there's always some kind of booby prize. So the Hawaii vacation certificate is basically one person goes free and one pays double. So they just get fucked. But it's, that gray area. You're not really lying. There was booby prizes like a home sauna, where you think, oh, they're going to install a sauna in my house. No, it's a fucking plastic bag that you put yourself in and attach a blow dryer to.
Milhouse's mom's jacuzzi suit from the radioactive man Simpsons.
I do not remember that episode.
Oh, damn. For some reason, I assume like we'll have like a very large overlap of pop culture things, because you'll bring up, man, I don't even remember now. But I wanted to ask you about the death pool, if you're still doing the celebrity death pool.
No, my name's still on it, but we haven't done that for years. I mean, my friend still runs it. But it's just like the NFL. Like, all right, I used to bet on football, but I don't have time. I don't even know who the fucking players are. We put a lot of time into that. It's weird how the things that you used to do, you go, how did I have that much free time to just scroll through Google searches of celebrities that might be terminally ill or canceled tours, or like just trying to win. I think once he turned it into a website and it wasn't just us doing it for fun, it kind of sucked all the life out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't as personal.
And it became a job for him, like round the clock. All right, is this person considered a celebrity? And I have to vet all these people and do all this. Well, this used to be us just fucking around, like 7 of us, releasing our picks on New Year's Eve. That was all the fun. And then it became no fun for him, and that made it no fun for me.
Do you realize that pretty quick, or do you spend like 6 months being like, why am I still even doing this?
No, I didn't feel any compunction. I'd put less and less research into it, or just let my picks from last year carry over and add a few if anyone died. And then
we talk a lot on
just don't participate.
We've mentioned many times in the past how we've both with our lives like pursued the thing that we loved. I was a stand-up comedy nerd since the age of 10. I watched as soon as Comedy Central became a channel, I watched every single stand-up. I didn't care if it was bad or good, whatever. I watched every one 3 times. And that was my education. I was a fuck off, like you in school. I was always, in trouble and disciplined and all this and that. Did a lot of factory work and whatnot. And so Ramin and I talk quite a bit about, and Ramin does a lot of
coke,
been able to make a living with his art and everything. But we talk about every time you take something that you love and you're like, I'm going to be able to do this for a living. Won't that be great? And then you start actually doing it for a living. And it's like, fuck. Now I just turned the thing that I love into a job.
And you don't love that thing anymore. How much stand-up comedy can you fucking watch now?
Never.
Unless it's like someone bombing abysmally at an open mic,
yeah.
or even better, at a show that people had high expectations for, or the best. Like, I can still watch Attell, and it's like I never did comedy myself.
Attell's the one other comic that same thing happened. I went and saw him. The first time I saw him was at the Comedy Cellar. And I was drunk. I think I was by myself too. And I laughed so hard he had to stop the show. And I'm not a big laugher either, but Tell's amazing. I worked with him in San Antonio, and he's a great. I made the faux pas backstage of being. I was like, man, growing up, I really loved the Insomniac show. Before I could say it, he's like, don't say it. Don't say it. And I'm like, Insomniac show. And he's like, fuck, you said it.
Well, at least it was a good show.
It was
I get the Man Show. Yeah, when people say the Man Show, I know you didn't like it. I knew it was shit when I was doing it. So at least he has something that he can. It's not that awful for him.
Yeah, I think you said in one of your specials, I would have ruined it twice as hard for half the pay.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was worried about on this episode, like, how do we speak to current Doug? Like, how do we make sure that we're not falling in the pitfalls of, like, what do you think of cancel culture? What was it like working on The Man Show? What was it like doing past things? So where we're like aligning with like 2014 you or 27 you, but like,
just fucking roll with it. There's nothing I can't talk about. Except I'm gonna try to force myself to not burn bits. And I do have
and we're going to do everything we can to get you to burn them.
But that's why it's great that I haven't seen the ayahuasca part yet, because there's a bit that I'm excited about that I'm working on about ayahuasca trips to Peru. And
have you done that?
Do you still do the desert party?
No, that's the kind of the point of the bit is I want to do ayahuasca in a fucking Hilton.
Yeah.
Just the silliness of what they go through to do the drug that really probably has nothing to do.
Oh yeah. It's
Shane's
a lot.
all about that.
Yeah, I
have questions for you guys if you want me to start.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
A 111 city tour.
I did 111 city psychedelic tour. Yeah. It was crazy.
I didn't know there were 111 cities.
Yeah. It was, well, what happened was I had made my living full time just doing comedy clubs. So I was kind of like I guess when I started in Boston, so I was a hybrid comic. I started, my home club was like the Comedy Studio, like, the Harvard kids, the alt group would go there, but I would do all the Elks lodges and stuff as well. And it was like everyone could either do just the road or just the alt rooms. And I prided myself on being able to work either one. And so I did a lot of comedy clubs, and then made my living doing that. And then when I got obsessed with science, which is mostly just me fucking up my life so many times that I just wanted to figure out what was wrong with my brain, I was like, I need to do themed shows because it's just too much to set up for one joke. There's not enough payoff. And then I did that for a while in clubs. And then when I had a psychedelic themed show, I was like, well, I can't do this in clubs on like a Saturday date night. I can't talk for 90 minutes about psychedelics. So I better start figuring out this indie scene.
I was thinking, did you ever do the UK?
Yeah, I did. Did
you do the Fringe?
I did. I did Edinburgh. I did it with my first themed show is called Mating Season, and it wasn't good.
Something about dogs fucking, as they say in the documentary.
When
Dave Waite says, yeah, I think his first one is something about dogs fucking. I love Dave Waite.
Oh, Dave Waite's one of my favorite people in the entire world. Yeah. That was me trying to talk about evolution in the Bible Belt. I was like, I'll make it about like why men and women are different, but from an evolutionary point of view, so that they'll get it. And then that got me into the psychedelic thing, and then it just like the tour started taking off. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just keep on riding this. And I did 100. I liked going to like Minot, North Dakota, and drawing like 200 or 300 people in to talk about psychedelics to a group of people where nothing like that would ever come to their town, you know?
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to ask, when you said 111 cities in the documentary, I'm like, what do you consider a city?
Oh yeah, any city. I did the tiniest. It was the first 80 were in months'
New
time.
Hampshire?
It was I was doing 5 cities a week through almost all of the tour. Yeah, that was it was intense, but I loved it. Before COVID, I was doing 3 cities a week with a different show of mine. So, but yeah,
that's why I asked about the UK, because that's common for them to do themed shows. In fact, it's the norm at the Edinburgh Festival is themed shows. And I'm like, I'm not theming a fucking show.
Well, I would do late night, and I was kind of a short joke, absurdist comedian. And, I was a big fan of Hedberg, a friend of yours and everything. And then I started getting booked in the UK and Australia, and they all did those Fringe shows. And I was like, well, what would my theme be? I don't know. And then that's how I started putting science into my act, which no one gave a shit about until I started talking about drugs, and then they would listen.
I have a lot of questions. Are you wearing shoes
right now? Hell no.
Grotesque. Like I don't know what a good looking foot is, but yours are fucking hideous. That first shot where you're driving without shoes, and then you're walking around in dirt and shit, and you're gonna be tripping with bare feet on dirt in Jamaica. I'm like, I got a thing about feet. I always have to. I sleep with socks on. I don't have hair up to the halfway part of my calf, because as a teenager, I would wear those tall 80s gym socks, and it just eventually rubbed out all where hair grows. That's, I guess, probably not the most important question from the documentary. And I haven't finished it. Again, I got like 15 minutes left.
Matter.
But I assume you come back around to spending 7 days in a psych ward. How much detail do you go into the actual psych ward experience?
Not a ton. I've talked about it a bunch on various podcasts and stuff, but things got pretty. I went to a psych ward again without psychedelics. At the beginning of COVID, when everything was falling apart and all the protests and everything else. It was around like May, June after the Floyd stuff. I woke up one day and I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or not. And I just never, I just couldn't tell. Whatever part of your brain tells you when you're dreaming and not dreaming, it just went away. And I just had no idea if I was dreaming or not for like weeks. And then I eventually ended up in a psych ward.
That's almost fantastic.
Yeah.
Police brutality. It must be a dream. It's back in full force.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
I'm so into.
I'm
so into dreaming right now.
Yeah.
Like dreaming, as in not being part of waking reality, or like daydreaming.
No, I've been having like better and better lucid dreams where I can kind of control them. I can get up to piss and go back to bed and get into the same dream, or pick the part and focus on it sometimes. And that was over COVID. And fuck, I don't know how much edibles had to do with it or
By quitting
downers
them?
had to do with it.
Quitting them or doing them?
No, I just started fucking with them over the last few years. But then, when I couldn't on the road, I couldn't if I had something to do the next day because I never know how long it's going to last. I never know when it's going to kick in. And I don't know how I'm going to feel the next day. But with COVID, who gives a shit? I get tomorrow off. I don't have anywhere to be. What, am I going to fuck up a Zoom call? Who cares? Bingo's been in and out. My wife has been in and out of mental institutions, and it's always a fucking nightmare. And I knew you probably don't delve deep in this documentary, but what your time in psych wards are like. Have you ever gotten any kind of decent treatment, or is it just a prison facility like it is for her?
Well, the first time it was, not only was it like a prison facility, but in my mind, I couldn't tell if it was like, I thought that time travelers were passing me messages, and it had something to do with, I couldn't tell if something that I was going to do was going to like take down the cartel. And so cartel was sending different time travelers to fuck with those other plans. And then the psych ward itself was some place where they were like storing me because I was like solving mathematical codes that were too powerful for the world to understand.
Okay, I hate to do this to you because your listeners probably already know all this shit, but I don't. But what was your history of mental illness? You hinted bipolar.
Yeah.
Throughout your life.
I was just bipolar 2, which is just like exceptionally depressed and then like very excitable, like hypomanic for, weeks, months at a time or whatever. And I just thought that's what being bipolar was like until I went to bipolar 1. And then when I had a full-blown manic episode, I was like, oh, this is what insanity is. And it's
he's my bingo.
And what's the difference? Like what specifically in your case, what did 1 become that 2 wasn't?
Like regular,
what did you actually do?
Yeah, regular 2 is like maybe making too many grand plans, taking too big a chances, spending too much money, your head getting like way, way too big. And then 1 is like, I remember thinking that the entire world was controlled by my mind, and every conflict in the world was a representation of my own inner conflict. So like at the time it was when Trump was egging on Kim Jong about nuclear war. And I was like, oh, this is a metaphor for my own inner world. And it's going to explode if I don't calm down. And so if I don't calm down, the whole world is going to blow up and everything in it. And it's all on you. And everything's giving you messages. Every billboard that you pass by has the meaning that it's meant to imply for everyone else, but then it has a special secret meaning meant just for you, a little wink from the universe. And the worst thing about psych wards is, for someone in that state, is 1, everyone else is in a similar state, and they feed off each other and reinforce, because everyone's like picking up clues off of everyone else's crazy fucking ideas about what they think reality is. And then there's things they don't explain to you, like they use color coding systems and things on doors so that the staff that needs to come in and like manage all these crazy people knows like what to look for. Like, this person is in this room, has this color or this number associated. They don't tell the patients like a simple reason why so everything, it seems like a puzzle that you need to figure out. And then everyone's taking notes, and there's cameras everywhere. So if you're already paranoid, that's not going to help your paranoid state at all.
Yeah, First of all, most of the times, Bingo, she had her first experience in a psych ward when she was really out of her fucking mind like that. But these subsequent times, it's usually when she knows that she's switching meds and knows that she could spiral out. So she goes there for her own safety because she knows she should be watched and should be. But then she's put up with fucking meth addicts and fucking... Like there's no rhyme or reason to what they call mental illness or how they store them. And she's perfectly, like, we've written things out like that when she was having nearly exactly what you just explained, where like the world is all my creation. You don't exist. You're telling me to do this because my mind is having you, the fake person, tell me to do this. So you can't talk reason. Yeah, that shit we wrote out. Like, we're not sending you, like, we're on the road. We're in fucking Rock Island, Illinois. We're not going to put you in some psych unit here. God knows what it's like. We'll get you home and try to ride this out to a place that you can be either properly medicated or go in cogent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once in a while, there was a person that could kind of get through to me and not make me paranoid. One of the psychiatrists or something there. Oh, well, I mean, in the psych wards.
It always pisses you off when it's not you. You go, hey, I fucking tripped before. I know the game. I know what you're thinking. Yeah. And then when someone else, then the hot chick comes in and goes, are you okay, Brendan Walsh? And you go, oh, you're listening to her? She's the one that gave you the mushrooms to begin with. She's the fucking psycho one.
Yeah,
Ramin what you really want to do is talk to him before. Oh, I was going to say you want to talk to him before he goes into the psych ward because he will not laugh at anything and it'll be the most dead serious
it's
the
so
world
Ramin's
hinges
like,
on this moment experienced.
Part of why we started this podcast is because, well, Ramin and I also like worked together and various projects and stuff through the years here and there. But we also, Ramin was my go-to person to call anytime I was just like horribly depressed or whatever. He was always able to make me laugh harder than anyone and pick me up. But when the first time before that psych ward, I like got a hold of Ramin, it was the only time he's ever not been able to make me laugh, and he knows me very well. And I was just deadly serious. Everything was just so important. And the thing is it's like, you know rationally that none of the stuff that you're thinking is correct. It's just that if there's a sliver of a chance that what you're tapping into is real, the stakes involved are so high that it can't be ignored, you know?
But that's why I was asking, how do you balance that with heavy psychedelic use? Like, again, this might be in the last 15 minutes, and I don't care if you ruin it for me.
No.
But over the course of time, when you get to a place where you go, I don't know if I'm dreaming or not constantly, do you know that this is mental illness versus this is from ketamine or DMT or whatever you might have done?
Yeah, I haven't done DMT since that time or ayahuasca. And I haven't done that many mushrooms since that time. But mushrooms, I got back into mushrooms for a while and I was like, okay, I can do mushrooms again. And then I just did them a little too regularly. Once again, it's not dose size. It's always frequency. It's always not enough time in between.
First of all, how do you fucking know the dosage of some shit some guy gave you in a bag?
Yeah. I mean,
I remember he's got contacts with pros now.
All right. Now, but in general, you have no idea how much you're taking. Sometimes you have huge mushrooms. I remember when the first whatever Persian Gulf War or whatever it was in the early 2000s, I went to Rogan to one of his buddies' houses out in the not in the valley, but out Riverside way, that kind of. And they were making ayahuasca and it stunk like shit. And then we drank the tea after hours of brewing it and nothing. And then eventually we're all just sitting there bummed. And I had brought this bag of little tiny mushrooms that I was embarrassed to take out. But well, if your shit didn't work, I got these and we tripped our fucking balls off on little tiny fucking mushrooms and caps.
Penis envies.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Those little tiny ones. Watch out for those. That's
like
the
the
real strong
scorpions.
stuff. Yeah.
The scorpions that are smaller are more poisonous or some shit.
Yes. You're talking to the right town. But yeah, it was kind of the ones you were stroking in that scene when you're in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And you're talking to that little nerdy guy that does tripper tours.
Yeah.
And you're just like stroking little, these are even tinier, like they're like silica, like fucking nose hairs.
Yeah. When did you get into psychedelics?
I got talked into, like I was I was scared of drugs. Pot never worked for me as a teenager. I'd get fucking bed spins and throw up. And I didn't get talked into doing mushrooms till I moved to Hollywood when I was 18. And the usual bullshit. They're all natural. Okay. Well, if they're all natural, yeah, that's how they get you. That all natural shit. But I had a fucking brilliant time. I was walking with my friends. We dressed their dog up in my suit and walked him up and down Hollywood Boulevard. And there was these Jesus people doing street theater. And it was just fucking hilarious. And the first time I did acid, I was 20 or 21. And I was living with these people. And my wife, I got married to this lady as a goof that the standard Las Vegas. She was a secretary where I worked, and we got drunk and went out and got married for fun. And then we were married. But I was living with them and some kids and their mother, all renting one house. And there was a basketball hoop in the driveway that all the neighborhood kids would fucking come out and play basketball. And we're tripping our balls off. And it's afternoon, and I'd go out and just watching the fucking basketball trail into the fucking net was amazing. And I go, you want to do another hit? And I went in and I took another hit, and I went out and someone threw the basketball to me, and I inhaled quickly, and it stuck to my uvula. And so I just had a fresh beer. I puked into my mouth, and I didn't want to spit it out because there's a fresh hit of acid in there.
Yeah.
So I tried to swallow the puke, which only makes you puke way harder. Nothing makes you puke more than trying to swallow puke. And so I just sprayed vomit all over the street. And I know there's a fresh hit of acid in there. So I started picking through my vomit, and I look up, and there's like fucking 9 kids between 6 and 12 years old watching me with a beer in my hand on my knees, rummaging through my own sick for valuables. But I found that fucking tab of acid, and I put it in the neck of my beer and chugged it, and we went back. Best fucking night of my life. And those kids are probably traumatized, thinking that was what a drug addict is like. No, that was one of the best nights ever. I watched Pink Floyd The Wall that night for the first time, the first trip and Pink Floyd The Wall. It's still religion to me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one. Live at Pompeii, even better. Have you ever seen Pink Floyd live at Pompeii?
No, I mean the movie The Wall.
Yeah. No, I know.
I don't really like music, but that stuck.
Yeah,
what do you listen to? Do you listen to podcasts, or do you listen to anything?
Audible books. Yeah, that's my favorite music. Audible books.
Did you used to like music, or you never really not hated it, but just never cared about?
I hate it. I just tapped out. Like at some point, you've heard enough songs. I had a iPod. What do you call them? Back in when iPods were a thing that I didn't know how to use, and I had to have someone else. I'd find the songs, and I had like 230 songs, and I go, that's plenty. Like the only time I listen to this shit is if I'm drunk or tripping or tired of people talking, which is rarely. And then I try to download Bill Burr's podcast onto it, and it erased all my songs. And I go, fuck it, I'm never listening to music again unless it's on and I have to. Out of spite, fuck music.
You have, how many books have you written?
3.
Are they all?
But one's still not out in hardcover. The last one was an Audible exclusive where they had the first 6 months exclusive, and then we could put it out hard copy, and we never did because I was lazy. And then I started busting my manager's balls because that was the best one.
Hennigan?
You gotta get this out. Yeah, Hennigan, you gotta get this out or you're fired.
I was hoping you'd do the voice.
Oh, well, I'll have it out by the time you do Rogan, but you have to stop telling people that this new special is an old special. People are finally watching it. It's free now.
I have no idea if he's a good manager or not. I just, in my head, you only have him as a manager for him to sit next to you and then you impersonate him.
No, he only works for me. So if I don't work, he doesn't work. And that's the business template it should be. You shouldn't have fucking agents that just sign every fucking kid off the Greyhound bus, every runaway that comes to town to do an open mic, and then they do all the work, and then the agent takes the credit and the percentage. Hennigan only works for me.
Monogamy.
Yep.
Monogamous business.
Yeah, it keeps people fucking busy.
I got an assistant at the same time I started doing the psychedelic tour because the old representation just didn't know how to transit. They were used to. It's such a great gig if you're like I was with Gersh for a long time and so they just send out a list of their clients to the list of the clubs that they book, and then the club makes an offer, they confirm it, and then call you up. I used to have this agent. He would call me up and he'd be like, "Playa, who wants to make some money?" He would say it just like that. It was for like $1,200 too.
Great.
And then I
have a stockbroker like that. I have a stockbroker that someone early on when I shouldn't have fucking liquid assets. Yeah, I'll go, and he'll call me up and just tell me all this. Like the parlance of fucking, and this is a fucking, I can't even do it. Like I try to write down some of the nomenclature of stock speak, and I tell him, I have no idea what you're saying, and I'm going to agree to whatever it is. So, but he talks like he's fucking Wolf of Wall Street, like pounding his, and I want to, it's Steve Viafor, I want to make a move. Listen, we have all this fucking whatever, blah, 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 and this is a new, it's a IPA and a fucking IPO, or I have no idea what you're saying, but you're really hilarious on speakerphone in the tour van, because you, but yeah, same kind of shit. He doesn't say playa, he's a little bit more New York than that.
Yeah. So I ended up getting an assistant because it's like the regular agencies weren't up for calling every emailing every music venue in a city until you find one that has like
VFW Hall in Minot, North Dakota. Yeah, they're not calling.
Exactly. And
and his rider for the green room includes, we don't have a green room. We only have the one room. It's a VFW hall. Who is this?
I can't believe how much of your life you've lived in a car on like, didn't you spend like 3 years in a car on the road?
What? Yeah. When I left, I did an open mic in Vegas. That's where I started, and left after about 6 months. I was in Phoenix for a year and a half, and then I spent 3 years just living out of my car, which wasn't always in your car. It was out of your car. I didn't have any home base. I didn't have storage. What I owned was in my car. And then you're either in a hotel when you're doing gigs or on some, fan's couch, meaning a guy that thought you're really funny, and then you finagle your way to staying on his couch for 3 days, or making poor choices sexually and settling for less just so you have a place to hang out, because you don't really have anything booked for 3 weeks and you're hoping one thing will come through.
Yeah.
But it was fucking fantastic. I was 4 to 27, and I didn't have like a life that I left before that. I was pretty much a vagabond couch surfer anyway. So this was, now I'm getting paid to do what I do. I was terrible. But I was playing towns where that was their level of humor. Yeah. When you do Idaho Falls, and all you have is dick jokes and that's all they want to hear. It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was starting to get in my 30s that I even had any point of view.
I always thought that you, to me at least, you always seemed like you were fully formed. I mean, your accent changed over the years and the mullet went away and the material is better. But like, as far as like the essence of it, like you and Seinfeld or I guess Burr too, like they started off as just fully formed to me. Whereas other people, you see like an arc where they get better. But I don't know if that just sounds like nonsense.
Well, no, it makes sense in that when I was 24, yes, I was talking about my dick because I didn't have a worldview. It's all you think about when you're 24 is fucking and titty bars and porn or whatever. That's what it's. Some people seem fake fully formed where they're talking about shit that you can't possibly care about this. You know that other people are talking about it, so you read. I was going to say read Newsweek. How outdated a reference. But yeah, you just you have something that's in the news, you form an opinion because other people are talking about it, and then you preach that. Where there's really no you in that. Like this is what I'm supposed to do.
But material aside, have you heard that clip of Gary Shandling with Seinfeld, and they're arguing about like some old comic from Boston that never taped any of his sets, and Seinfeld is like, "Oh, that material's gone forever," and then Gary Shandling's coming from the opposite side of like, "No, it's not about the material. It's about he was here. It was his presence. That was it." And then I see some people as they start off as their presence, and then that's where you're kind of shooting towards. And then some people never fully have that. They're just kind of okay middle to something stand-ups. But I don't know.
Well,
I think
I've been drunk the whole time, so that it does bring you to a place of when you're a long-term drunk, you're more reactive and you go from gut instincts and you don't think about what airs should I put on for this. It kind of, in not necessarily a good way like psychedelics, but it boils you down to an essence, if not the essence that you strive for, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, you articulated that I think in No Refunds, you said that psychedelics expanded your mind. Cigarettes gave you the focus to write this all down, and then alcohol gives me the courage to tell this in front of you stupid drunk fucks or something.
Yes, judgmental fucks.
Yeah, judgmental fucks. There we go.
Wow, I wouldn't have remembered that, but you did.
How often do you, because you're kind of it's interesting because you have this disposition of, oh, here's this guy who a regular drinker who says anything, has lived out of his car and blah blah blah, and kind of this vagabond disposition or something like that. But you must be incredibly disciplined to write down. Is it just that you tour enough and get enough
fear-based?
Yeah,
absolutely fear-based. I get a fucking that's when comedy started sucking for me, is when they were paying the ticket to see me and not just to see comedy night. And I now I have to fucking not top myself, but I have to yeah, there's an expectation, and even if there's not, I have it. I think there's an expectation. So yeah, I have here. This is just from the last 2 weeks of fucking notes and notes and more fucking notes.
And you have the type of fan that'll see you twice. Not everybody, but there's always going to be like a handful of people that'll come see the second show.
I don't do second shows because of that guy. I try to never do second shows in a town. I have been since COVID. I've lowered my standards, but that guy gets in my fucking head more than anything in comedy. Is when you know that it's a fucking magic trick.
Yeah. Stand in the back if you're going to do that.
Yeah. I have bits about that. The same way Sean Rouse used to get drunk and take headers. He'd have scabs on his face from passing out drunk and falling down, that he had regular go-to bits in case he had a scab on his face that night. He could pull out one of these scab on my face bits. Yeah, I have bits for the guy who fucking comes for 3 shows in a row. Oh, I'm coming. Oh, you're playing fucking Santa Rosa? And then, yeah, I'm going to be in Santa Cruz too. And then I'm going to see you in Fresno. Why? I just said all the shit I have to say. Why would you come back and fucking make me feel like a fraud internally and pace around the green room? I just love hearing you. I can hear you over and over. I can't. I have to drink to hear me over and over again. Why would you pay money for it? Now it feels like...
That's a delightful level of responsibility. I like Sean, the responsible enough to plan for the scabs on his face, not responsible enough to stop. Getting scabs on his face. That's incredible.
He was the best. Did you ever see him work?
I did in Austin once, forever ago.
I did. I saw him in Indianapolis one time. I think they have those Crackers comedy clubs, and I think that we were headlining the 2 different ones at the same time or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did one of those once, and it was actually really good. And I think they closed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're still open. The owner used to always hit on me. This older, like, this woman in her 60s that had like gotten divorced, and so she would just book male comics that she had a crush on, and I like 29 and getting hit on by this like 60-year-old lady.
I'm picturing the cancer lady from Fight Club, cancer support group, and I just want to get laid before I die. I have lubricants and pornographic material. Yeah. They shuffle her off.
So do you, because you take off football season, right? Each year, or do you still do that?
Well, now nothing. There's no sense of fucking scheduling anymore. I used to take off from roughly Thanksgiving through Super Bowl, so I could be home. No one wants to fucking travel. I won't do bad weather gigs, though. I may start. We might have to do Canada in the winter, but yeah, I don't want to be in cold weather, and so yeah, we could start, end in Florida in mid-November, or start in Florida in mid-February, and then work up. Yeah. So now I don't really care.
It seems like you operate at like a thin margin. I have no idea, of course, but it seems like you make money that you need to make, and then if you don't need to make anymore, it's like, well, why should I work? And then it cycles back. Or are you actually? Well,
I live
good
within
with
my means. I everything I have is paid for, so yeah, just the basic bills and
bargain
property
meat
taxes. Yeah, discount meat. But that's like who was it that? I don't know, some celebrity lady, actress, Brangelina, or one of those fucking people. There was some, could you live on this amount of money? And she goes, I can do it. Like, about how poor people, can you live on fucking, $30 worth of groceries a week? And she got a lot of flack for even trying. But that's stuck in my head. I'm like, first of all, I don't really eat that much. But I'm like, I can eat like a fucking king. You get... discount fucking pork, the thin cut, making fucking Cuban sandwiches with pickles. Like, I'm not feeding a family, but at the same time, I could eat on like $8 a week. I'm pretty sure I could eat on $8 a week.
Yeah, and when you think of what it took to get that thinly sliced pork at that temperature, free of any pathogens or anything, to your door, and what you would have to do if
fucking John Taffer ever saw my kitchen, the bar rescue guy, like, you're so full of shit. Oh, you're going to cross-contaminate. I eat fucking old shit all the time, discount meat. I never get sick. Did Shane freeze up on us? Oh,
Yeah, he froze up. It wasn't me.
I think
It was
we all
Shane's
froze
fault.
for a second.
where are you guys?
I'm in Los
Wisconsin.
Angeles. Yeah.
On Alaska?
Yeah.
Living with mom?
Yeah. I came here for COVID. I had started a show in 2019. I was doing a show called Stand Up Science. I'd get 2 scientists everywhere I went. I needed projectors and stuff, so I was booking indie rooms. I was setting up projectors and doing all of my own shit in 3 cities a week, and I couldn't fly with this stuff anymore. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just tour. I'll do three one-nighters a week in different towns. And that's what I was doing when COVID happened. All my shit's in storage in Portland, in the last place that I lived. And now I'm just figuring out my fucking life all over again. That's where I'm at.
I like you. That documentary is 3 years old, but you seem to have grown into, I know it's a lot of hair, but
I think it's 5 years old now.
Well, I thought it was 2019.
Oh,
Anyway.
never mind. Maybe that's when it was
By the
put
time
on
it
the
released,
streaming.
by the
Yeah.
time it released, yeah.
Yeah.
You were one of the reasons why you're inspiration. I mean, when I started, I was like, I had a way of like pushing the boundaries in an aw shucks Midwestern, wholesome face, sort of thing. And at the time, because I started in 2004. Like like Tosh didn't have his show yet. He had just put out his first album, and Bill Burr hadn't like done the Chappelle show yet, or maybe had just done it, and so like all these people whose material they hadn't really broke yet. And you were someone that at the time I was like, everyone loved Doug Stanhope, but he's probably burned too many bridges. Who knows if that stuff's going to work out for him. And then by the time I had some level of success, like your stuff was going off on the indie scene, and like Anthony Jeselnik, who actually caught breaks like after me, was taking off, and Tosh and all these people that were able to do that kind of like clever, but like toward the boundary pushing shock value sort of stuff. We're all doing it way better than I was ever going to. And that's when I was like, around 2009, 2010, I was like, I think I'm going to not pursue that and go into something else, because these guys are already crushing it. But one of the reasons why I was inspired by you is because you kind of, in my mind, you kind of started the indie comedy thing. Because if in reading through, digging up Mother, it seems like you actually tried to play the game a little bit in comedy, and did the festivals, and then even did like the auditions and things like that. And then it took a while before you were like, you know what, fuck auditions, and then went off on your own. And it
was clubs that when I was developing a fan base, where Harvey's, I think, was the first one in Portland. I don't know if it's still there or was there when you were in Portland, assuming you mean Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Yeah, and the guy would brag about how he didn't have to pay comics because he had the best telemarketing, giving out free tickets. My club is sold out every show with free tickets. And I would get, 5 people on one night and 6 people on another. And that's when I go, hey, if I start a mailing list, I can get you all to pay me in one show what I'm making in 9 shows at fucking Harvey's. And I went down to Dante's. That's where I ended up filming Beer Hall Putsch. Then we just started barnstorming, was what we called it at first. And probably exactly what you did on that 111 city tour.
Yeah, I mean, I would do the club, and then because I wasn't into Burning Man or the whole psychedelic culture. I just gobbled a lot of mushrooms by myself and did DMT by myself and stuff like that. And it was just part of my, it was, most of my trips were by myself until I started that tour. And I had, so I didn't actually know that there was people interested. So I would be doing a regular week of clubs, and then I'd be like, well, I'll come in a day early and find some music venue and see if maybe like Ramin made me a cool poster for it.
A day early?
Yeah, I would come in a day early and do like a Wednesday.
fucking crazy.
Why is that?
I mean,
crazy?
I would take. I'd book it ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd get fucked a lot of the times. Oh yeah, we hold 200 people. Well, you didn't tell me that half of them can't see the stage. That's the capacity of your bar.
Yeah,
And then you get the places like, did you bring a microphone? Like, fuck.
Oh, well, I would get a hold of local comics that knew the indie scene. And so I'd book something. So I'd be in like the Wednesday before the Thursday through Saturday regular gig or whatever.
Right.
And so I'd do the Wednesday gig, not expecting anyone to show up. And then it was like the craziest response to any show that I had ever done. And then and like you said, and then I looked at the paycheck and I'm like, wait, I just made more for that show with people that loved it and had a zillion questions for me afterwards and wanted to like keep it going and everything. And then I go that whole weekend, and even if I crush, people are like, hey, good job, and walk off afterwards and avoid your merch table and shit. And I get half the amount of money that I got from the one gig. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to turn this into a tour. And then once I got rolling, I just kept on adding dates.
Do you remember the first time you went to a comedy club? This is a question for both of you, because I was just reflecting on the change to clubs to doing your own venue for one night instead of 9 nights. But I saw Mitch Hedberg in 2000 or 2001, and he was just this larger than life figure, and I'd never been to a comedy club. And we went to the website, and I was so shocked that he was there from like Tuesday through Sunday. I was sure it was going to be one night and impossible to get tickets, but it's like, I have 8 nights to choose from and I can go right up to the stage. Like, what is this comedy club business? And then I learned that's just kind of the way it is until you pop after a certain level. But do you remember?
I remember the first time I worked with Mitch was at Knuckleheads Comedy Club in the Mall of America in Minneapolis. And I was the middle act. He's the opener. And Lewis Johnson was the headliner out of Denver. And Lewis had seen Mitch before, and he's like, man, watch this kid. This kid is going to be great. But he was the fucking worst MC for a papered comedy club, papered for the listener, meaning free coupons. You have no idea who you're going to see. And he'd go up. He was not a guy going, hey, is there anybody celebrating birthdays? He went straight into Mitch. And I remember it worked one night and didn't work the rest of that. But we did Acid at the Hampton Inn by the Mall of America together one of those nights, and we were fucking bonded, because that's one thing that tripping does together, especially when you're young. You trip together. Just being a comic on the road, it's us against them. That's the mentality. But when you bond with the fucking acid trip, sneaking, low crawling to the morning breakfast buffet after you've been all night because you're afraid business people will see you and know that you're on acid. That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. That's because you lived with Mitch for a while, right?
I stayed at his place just transitory when he was already in LA, and I stayed with him for a few weeks till I got my own place. And then once you're both headlining, you don't see each other anymore, especially when one of you's a heroin addict hiding in an RV.
I always forget tragic. Even though I know it in my head, I always forget the tragedies of how some people end, or like their struggles. You just remember the good parts. Not that that's like bad more than a struggle, but it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that he was addicted to heroin. I forgot that he did die in 2003 on April 1st, which is coming up like next week.
It was not April 1st. It was March 29th or 30th, which was, I remember because it was so fucked up that people were saying, oh, Mitch, is this just an April Fool's prank?
Yeah, because it was released.
2005.
It was announced, I think, on April 1st, or people heard about it April 1st. It was like, a little slower.
It was announced because I remember being pissed off saying, why would someone do an April Fool's prank the day before?
Yeah.
But he was always like honest, in most of his jokes were based in some kind of fact, like, ducks eat free at Subway. He did actually ask, he didn't write that as a fantastical situation. and we were co-headlining. It's probably late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, probably 2002 or something. We're co-headlining at Acme in Minneapolis, and he had a joke, because I'd watch all his sets. No comic didn't. And he had one joke, and I'm bastardizing it, but something to the effect about how when you love something and then you love something else even more. He said, I used to enjoy smoking pot, and then someone sprinkles some heroin in your pot, and then regular pot isn't good anymore. I'm like, oh, that's new. I know that comes from some. And I asked him backstage at the second show, as we're doing coke, I go, are you really fucking with heroin? And he just looks at me, shut me down with that look. He goes, man, I have no intention of slowing down. And then we went back to coke, and I never asked him about it again.
Damn.
Man. One thing that surprised me that you've said so far, when you talked about, I get the idea of not wanting to repeat jokes and the pressure of turning over material, but there's, I'm surprised that. Did you do well in regular comedy clubs as you grew as a comedian, as you kept on pushing it? Because the reason I ask is because I've personally found the indie scene, I guess because I do like more themed or peculiar things. Like I'm not just going to drop a bunch of science jokes on an unsuspecting crowd of people or 90 minutes of psychedelic material. It'd be like if someone went up at a club and did an hour of football jokes, I'd be like, make that a show and go put it somewhere else. So you're not like, I didn't know I was going to hear an hour of football jokes. That's cool that you do that, but it's not for everybody, And so I've enjoyed that, like, oh, people know what they're buying into. This isn't that papered room comedy club. These people know. Whenever I have a podcast listener or something that meets me and they're like, it's so weird because I know you so well and you don't know me. Isn't that weird? I'm like, no, it makes things so much easier.
I had the same feeling just having watched most of your documentary right to talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I'm watching you right now. I'm still fucking easily starstruck. That easily, Shane.
That is a low bar. But there's the point is, I mean, did you even?
You were saying that.
Did you do that well in clubs? Like toward as you kept on.
I must have.
I would have just thought. I mean, to me, comedy clubs are a lot of like drunken babysitting. And I was always, once I did well at like, whoa, this guy will say whatever. And then once I was actually getting a paycheck full time, being on the road, getting comment cards with complaints and worried about like, oh no, if the Dallas Hyenas doesn't have me back next year, that's 2 weeks out of my schedule that I won't fill.
They throw those out, right?
Yeah.
The wait staff, if they're good, they're always like, we threw out the bad ones, right?
Yeah.
The answer to the question is still the same now that I'm doing other gigs, is I sold alcohol. When you're a drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bachelorette party can walk out and cry and yell at the manager, but then he looks at the comment card in one hand and the bar receipts in the other. He goes, yeah, this guy can come back anytime he wants because he's moving merchandise. That's their merch table, the bar. And I fucking work that really well.
That makes sense.
Never really thought of that about the early days. Nowadays, I think, even if the owner of the bar, which is really imperative, the difference between working four-wall in a local bar and working an improv or a funny bone is there's no Mr. Improv or Mr. Funny Bone there to say, oh yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, fucking no, they're dropping tabs in the middle of your set at 55 minutes because you said an hour 15, and they don't give a fuck how much booze you sell. They want to get the hell out of there. Get my tips, get me out of here. And when you're working someone's, hey, we're all making money here. Yeah, you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. And in terms of that, what about your specials? Do you have do you just invest your own money in those? Do you get deals first? Or do you, because more and more people don't need to rely on CISO or Comedy Dynamics or whatever some new thing is that's popping up that's trying to grab all the specials, and you wait to get the call as a comic or whatever.
I have management.
Yeah.
I let them deal with. We're getting a decent upfront check. If you think that's good, we'll do it. If not, I know, the last one we put out that's now out for free, which we said, hey, we're putting this out for whatever, fucking $10. If you can pay for it, eventually we're gonna put it out for free anyway. So if you, one of my broke friends, just wait a bit. But we that made as much money as, well more than the shittiest offer we got for it. So
it sounds like you don't.
I don't make those decisions.
It sounds like you don't spend a lot of time doing stuff you don't want to do anymore. Is there still little sections of time that, not like diarrhea or things like that, but is there any time that's I don't want to be booking this form anymore, but yet here I am still filling out these forms? Or have you crafted a day-to-day existence of, if I want to just watch football today, or if I just want to lucid dream for the next 6 hours, I can just do that?
Pretty much I can just do that. And
nice.
Then you go, oh, the deadline for whatever. I can't do that last 20 minutes. COVID really fucked that up for me, where I worked in a cycle where roughly every 18 months I'd be, shedding the full skin. But now all the Midwest stuff we're going to do, August through October, less the UK. I'm like, all right, I can't do that last 20 minutes I'm doing now. Now I have to make sure that's replaced because I already did those bits in these cities. So yeah, there's a little bit of mind work that has to go into, all right, where did I not do these bits? Fortunately, my tour manager, Greg Chaley, records all our shows, so I can go back, all right, what did I do on this run? What was I working on? What's new? What's old? Because I do pay attention to that. I don't just go up and free ball it. I try to make it worth the money.
Yeah, and that's that. Go ahead.
I was wondering if you, how often do you watch yourself?
Listening is hard enough. Watching is terrible.
I know. It's the hardest thing ever.
I do. I have little short hands. I had a joke. I think if I did a 23andMe, it would say I'm 14% dwarf. Just 'cause, my hands move oh God, it's horrible. I'm trying to ignore this part of the screen right here where I am and just look at you. I should do that. I used to do that in the UK where in the UK, the news, I would just have the news on because everything else was Friends. And I'd put on the TV and the 6 channels, and they'd always have the deaf interpreter that, and it was just so can't you get fucking closed captioned? Why do you have to have the person acting like they're special needs? And I remember one night just pouring my drink onto a napkin and sticking it right over the face of that guy, so I didn't have to see him. And that's what I want to do anytime I'm on a camera. It's just wet napkin my face.
Or move the browser off the screen. Have you seen that clip? I think it was during some Obama speech, but someone snuck on stage pretending to be a sign language person, and they're just making gibberish for 30 minutes, and they're like, oh no, they're probably supposed to be up there, right?
You've had to have done shows where they had a deaf interpreter.
Oh yeah, and you have to make them say filthy stuff, and they're like, oh, this shit again, as if this has never been done before.
I'd make them say words that aren't even words. And I'm like, how can you make up words? I just made that word up. And how are you saying that?
Yeah, they just probably have a filler for insert gibberish here. It just means they just do a tornado sign or something. Sorry if that's not how it is.
Yeah.
Apologies to the deaf community.
It's always funny if whenever there's
my cousin, my lesbian cousin Nancy, who is a graduate of Gallaudet, which is a deaf university, and now she works with the deaf. I had to ask her, is it important that they contort their face that much? And like that's how they do emphasis. So to explain to the viewers before you fucking complain, like you're gonna fucking complain about my podcast.
No, I don't think
I guess
they will.
yeah, that's their tone and volume. If they can't exaggerate, then where's that dynamic coming from?
I guess so. Yeah.
It seems dramatic sometimes. It is. It's a very performative of the translator. If you're going to get into translating, that's the most performative, theatrical form of translation.
Yeah, but it's not the fucking same. When you see, they still called drag queens when they do drag shows and they lip sync, which always made me fucking crazy that they get standing ovations for hitting high notes when they're fucking lip syncing, but they're not doing it like they're developmentally disabled. Is what the interpreter does. So I'll have to call Nancy and ask for more information so I can become enlightened on this situation.
It's always funny anytime there is a group of. I've done gigs where just a van full of blind people shows up from whatever, like the blind community in town, and they all got tickets, and they show up and you do blind material, and it's always, every time, like I used to have a blind joke in my act that would go well, and I'd always know if there was a blind person in the room, because normally the joke would kill, but I would just hear this vacuum in some spot of the room, and it was never the blind person offended ever. It was always the people around them, like, oh my gosh, is it okay
on behalf of,
yeah.
I don't know which book, but that's how I met my wife. She was a caretaker for a guy that was blind and deaf, or whatever. He blind and mute, but he loved the sound of people laughing. And she brought him to my show. She was his caretaker, and so I just drove in from, like, I didn't say anything there. And then all the people around. But at that point, I was used to, I had handled that situation enough that I handled it well. And I met her after she took him to the bathroom in the front bar of Harvey's. And yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
He died.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's dead.
So that was, how long ago did you meet Bingo?
I met her like probably 2001-ish. And then we got together again. Then she was a kid. She was like 22. We hooked up for a weekend, but she'd keep vaguely in touch. And I am in New Orleans now learning to play saxophone. Now I'm in Wyoming. And then the last one in 2005 was, I just got out of a mental institution. I was 5150'd. I see you doing this. I said, well, no, we're actually having a party in Death Valley. If you're in Tahoe right now, you can just skip down to, we do a lot of drugs and hallucinogens at this party. Your doctor would probably advise against it, and she showed up, and I left my wife for her, and we've been together ever since.
Nice.
A classic romance tale.
I wanted to, we're getting in there right now. I wanted to ask you about death, because you bring up, what's that? Oh, good. You talk about death a lot. I talk about death a lot. And I was wondering, because Shane and I have different beliefs really based in nothing about what could happen after you die. But do you think about what happens to your awareness? Like, do you go into a lucid dream? Is it pure black nothingness or pure agnostic? Or where's your head at with that currently?
That's like saying, when you turn on a movie, do you want to know how it ends? Why would you? I don't even want to fathom a guess of what it might be like. I want to be just dumbfounded at whatever it is.
No spoilers whatsoever. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the whole point of reading a fucking Bible or something. Well, that's an early joke of mine from 1999. If you're so sure that death leads to eternal bliss, why are you wearing a seatbelt?
we have
and that was my DMT experience as well, where I only did it once, don't need to do it again, because I was writing man show monologues with Joe Rogan, thinking, we know the show is being canceled at this point, but we still have to crank out these monologues for the last day's shoot, and we're writing fucking horrible fucking frat boy comedy jokes just to get done with it. And then I smoke DMT with him, and then I get eternal fucking all full knowledge in my head, and I have to go right back to writing fucking man show monologues. That's not a good day.
Oh no. I think you and Rogan talking about it on some YouTube clip was the first time I'd ever heard of DMT at all as a substance. And it's interesting. You've only done it once. Shane has done it 100,000 times. And then I'm right in the middle with 9 or 10.
Yeah. It's been a while.
I won't even do mushrooms anymore. I'm afraid. I've eaten some stems over the last 2 years, occasionally, twice, maybe. And I got too much fucking baggage.
Yeah. What about
guilt and what did you say in the?
Yeah. What about how about ketamine?
No, I just worked with Annie Letterman.
Yeah.
Oh, hilarious!
At the Comedy Store. Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I'm doing ketamine a lot, and she even did a bit about, you know what's funny? Last night I was on ketamine and I watched myself watch Doug Stanhope on ketamine. Yeah, fucking kids.
I gave her ketamine for her first time, actually. So it's neat to find out that's it's gone into a full-blown ketamine addiction. She's in.
Oh my God. When you went, because I never really paid attention to the schedules of drugs, but it's in your plug your fucking documentary, because it's on Amazon Prime for free.
Yeah, Psychonautics, Comics Exploration of Psychedelics.
Yeah, watch it 100 times. Get those numbers up.
No, it's fantastic. It's not as fun as the one they put out, but it's probably got more scientific facts. The one about how to do LSD or something that, or mushrooms that Sarah Silverman was in.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's, if I had a kid, I would show them that video. All right, you're about to fuck with hallucinogens. Watch this. Don't look in the mirror. Shit like that. Yeah. It's not as scientific based as a lot of yours, but still yours breaks down all these drugs. Have you ever thought about doing other drugs, like fuck with heroin on a documentary? Things that are more dangerous?
Yeah. Have you thought of just being Super Size Me with drugs?
Yeah.
I always thought about just trying every drug I've never tried for a documentary, but
I mean, I've done, well, first off, fentanyl's ruining everything these days because it's getting in everything. And
but then they rebound and figure out a drug testing kit to make sure there's no fentanyl in your drugs. When my buddies just did another Death Valley thing, they had kits to make sure there's no fentanyl in it. Something fucks up, someone finds builds a better mousetrap.
It's an arms race.
Yeah, when you
it's an arms race.
when you do a 111 city tour and do a psychedelic documentary and like partner with a research organization and stuff, you end up having some pretty cool hookups to a lot of interesting things. So I've always felt a little safer with my things, but I've done a fair amount of coke in my life, even though I've never liked it, but I'll just always do it. I don't know if it's around. I'm like, yep, all right. I haven't done this in a while. And then if
there's a fucking third show Saturday and they give you the option of just a bump of Coke
Yeah.
or a 5-hour energy drink. What's going to make you feel more healthy?
Yeah.
Coke.
Yeah. Oh, energy. Ramin drinks energy drinks. I can't. Yeah. I know.
I don't feel great afterwards, but I do drink them. I still, some part of me needs it. It's the taurine.
Yeah,
or
we
the
fucked
something.
with Adderall when we were run out of shit. Like, hey, we have to do a podcast, my own podcast, and I don't have anything to say. Well, let's take an Adderall because then you're just going to say anything a lot.
Yeah.
That was a great bit. That was a great bit in the documentary. Oh, I took an Adderall. I go, oh, this is cocaine. And then it didn't wear off. I'm like, no, this is meth. Beautiful.
And it's true. I broke my feet, so I did a fair amount of oxy for like a year or something like that, but I never really got withdrawals and stuff from it. So part of me is like, what is heroin? Heroin's one of those that I want to do when I'm like 80. I think that's when I want to try heroin for sure. Plus it'll be really good.
I used to have, I don't know if you know Christine Levine.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was from Portland. She used to work at the porn shop there. Porn clerk was her. She had a T-shirt called Porn Clerk, and my ex-wife and I, my last wife, we went in there, and she's like, "Just take whatever you want." And at that point, there's no sex toy that I'd never tried. That like I don't need. But then they had one on display, was this glass butt plug that was electrified with a knob that you could turn up to how much amperage you wanted to be shocked in your ass. And I go, because I always said I'm saving heroin for last was the bit. Like, It's not addictive because it sucks. But then when I saw that, I go, that's my last sex toy. That's how I want them to find me, is with a needle in my arm and that on 10 and my hair like young Einstein or whatever that fucking reference was from those days.
Amazing.
I know Christine because she came through Austin back in the day, and I don't know if she was in the Unbookables or maybe just a satellite of the Unbookables, but it reminded me of, I think this was you that did it. It sounds like you, but you would recommend people who you liked, but you more than often recommend people who you knew sucked. But since they had your rec, you know that someone in Austin or wherever would put them up. So you'd just send people that you knew. Oh, it wasn't you?
No, I never did that.
Oh.
I have sent people that I think are funny that died a million times. Because especially to Alaska, where Chaley, my tour manager, podcast producer guy, my life manager, he used to book the shows up there, and I would send fucking Rouse died. They had to fucking like carry him off stage. I called up. I go, listen, don't send this guy shots like you do to everyone. Like it was notorious in Anchorage at Coots that they would just send you a barrage of shots, and I go, Rouse, don't do that to him. They thought I was being sarcastic. So they sent him all these shots, cut to him being held up off stage, cut to follow the trail of blood to find that he made it back to the band house where he was staying. Because where did he go? He was just falling down. No, he fell down in the ice, and they followed the trail of blood to find him. And then he probably did those bits about the scab on his head.
Full circle.
Yes.
Well, Doug, what are you interested in plugging at the moment? Let's give people. I want people to have because Ramin's a big artist on Instagram. I have a following from like both science and the psychedelic. So like we have a weird eclectic group of people that listen. Not everyone's going to be familiar with your stuff. What's a good like Doug Stanhope starter kit? And then what do you want? What are you like the most excited to plug?
That's one thing I went through a few years ago when I was having to write new shit. I got a new tour coming up, and I went and I just drove around Arizona, back roads here in the desert, and I made myself listen to everything I have recorded. And a lot of it was brutal. And a lot of it was, hey, I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
That's when you look back at your old shit going, oh, this is going to suck. And when you laugh at some early incarnation of yourself, like, all right,
Yeah.
I don't know who that guy was, but he just made me laugh. But then every time now that we're in a short attention span peak, where like some old topic, Arizona had something still about the under God being in the Pledge of Allegiance. I go, I have a bit about that on Deadbeat Hero in 2004, and I listened to it. It's 6.5 minutes long. Like I wish I could like do a best of and make those bits succinct, so I could just anytime one of these recurring. Everyone fucking thinks that every problem in the world is new. I just watched that Andy Warhol thing last night, the series on Netflix. I was up till 6 a.m. watching it, and you're not old enough, but the way AIDS was as a virus pandemic and how people freaked out about it.
Oh, yeah.
And now to balance that against this.
Oh, I've done a deep dive through pandemic history stuff, and it's shocking to read like what people were, the reaction during cholera or any of this. It was just the exact same shit. I've
read that, but I never thought about how because I was around for AIDS.
Yeah.
I was just starting to get to fucking age. I was 18 in 1985, and now herpes was like 1983, and that made the cover of Time magazine. Herpes, the Scarlet Letter, was the cover of Time magazine. Like, oh my God, what if you got herpes?
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, AIDS.
Yeah.
And then all the herpes people are like, woohoo.
Yeah.
Then I get herpes. I'm like, didn't get AIDS.
Well, we were talking last week about how we were talking about bands we'd want to see, and relevant to this, I saw Roger Waters a few years ago, which you'll see in the documentary. But Roger Waters took all. This is when Trump was still in office, and he took all of the old Pink Floyd like anti-establishment songs and did them, and just changed the art and like backdrop and stuff, and just made it all about what's going on now. And it was jaw-dropping. You would have thought they just wrote those songs like these years. And I want to see some Doug Stanhope version of that, where you do like some greatest hits, but how it applies now, because you've been at this for so long.
Yeah, it's I think I even had a bit about this. Like, I've had so many bits that why is this still relevant? Yeah, I did. I think that's I don't know. Before turning the gun on himself, I think that's where I close with a closer about how gay marriage. Why? No, I've already tackled this. Why is it not solved? I already solved this problem.
Yeah.
All these bits that I've done without doing the bits. But yeah, I would love to. I think it would be harder to try to relearn an old bit than write a new bit.
Yeah.
Like if you had to go back to fucking Two Broken Feet or Born Standing Up, whatever the fuck clever title.
Right. My Big Break. My Big Break.
Yeah, My Big Break.
Yeah.
You just plagiarized the Steve Martin book.
There's stuff. There's only one thing I ever released that I absolutely hated, and it was Mating Season. It's because I dumbed it down too much to talk about evolution in the South. And then, but other than that, it's always like, all the old things feel a little bit like looking at an old high school photo of yourself when you first look at it. And then, like you said, you see a bit and you're like, oh, damn, that was pretty clever. I forgot all about that one. Or someone will remind you of something like, oh, actually, that's pretty good. I would love to tweak that a little bit and redo it. I would love to see a Doug Stanhope like remix to modern age. But what do you?
I feel like someone else would have to
just
do it.
have 30-second fucking like, all right, here's the succinct part. Anytime this comes up, you can fucking put out this video. Like viral with the nationalism bit and some other bit in the last few years have gone like, oh, well, every time I hear about this, I think about Doug Stanhope's bit, and it's way too long. If I could just make succinct 30-second chunks.
Oh my God, are we about to get Doug Stanhope on TikTok? That's what this is sounding like. Welcome
no, my manager would have to get me on TikTok, and he's older than me. That's the thing. I'm the youngest guy in my team. My fucking manager and my fucking podcast guy are both a couple years older than me.
Yeah, they're trying to get you on Facebook or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to fucking get some new blood in this.
Do they put pressure on you to be more online? Like, oh, we could cut up these clips and like put captions on them and make these go micro viral and then market this with this title? Or are you having to do all that?
No, they know my motivation, and they run with my level of sloth, which is not a good thing necessarily.
You should just have someone that. I think Mark Norman has someone that just goes through all of his material, turns it into TikToks, and they just get whatever from TikTok, like whatever money his TikTok earns, they get. But Mark has like a big following from it that promotes his shows. And
send one of those kids to move to Bisbee, Arizona.
Yeah, it wouldn't even need to.
I'll hire that person in Bisbee.
Yeah.
But you can't even get someone to fucking do anything in Bisbee. It's a town where people thrive on not working or grifting the system. No one wants to do shit here.
Yeah, it's all unemployment veteran benefits mainly. I think that was how you described it.
Disability or fucking unemployment or handyman. When they
you're
need
the
money.
go-getter. Yeah, you have an online presence. You have a body of work.
Yeah, I said I could stand on a fucking a stack of crates and wave money. No, people want to work. Not here. No. Unemployment is what they're here for.
Are you a loved figure there? Because I know the town is only like 5,000 people or something. Are you generally recognized, or they don't?
I get recognized at Safeway sometimes, and I know some people, but no. If one person I knew hated me was in town, it would be the same as that one person in an audience that hates you in the audience. I would go, oh my God, I can't believe someone hates me. So I live in a shell here. I don't want to know the one person that hates me, but I know they exist.
Well, Doug, it's really nice to get to formally meet you.
Thank you both.
And yeah,
thanks for coming on. You're on our Rushmore.
Yeah, definitely. You're the first guest we've had on the show for a reason.
I hate all terms.
Yeah.
The only thing I can really plug is DougStanhope.com.
Yep.
I know it looks fucking etch-a-sketch, but get on the mailing list, because eventually all these fucking social media things are going to fall apart, and that's the only way I'm going to be able to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And I'm not really good at social media.
That would be great, but I have a fear that I think one of them is going to win it all. One's going to take it all. Well, we'll see.
Allegedly, Fat Mike from NoFX, I just did his podcast, and his manager has an in at Instagram. I've been blocked or hacked or something from Instagram, which I never used until almost 2 years ago to the day, where I can't get in, and my manager can't get in, and there's no toll-free number for Instagram to get someone to, hey, what the fuck? So he has someone, hopefully I get on Instagram, because that seems to be the way it's going.
Yeah.
But he said he has an in last week. He said probably a week and a half you'll be back on, but he might be full of shit too.
Yeah, I didn't do social media until COVID.
What a great strategy to not have a support line. Just start a business with no way of getting in touch with you. It was always allowed. Like, there's no Google support line or anything.
PayPal, Netflix. like I've had specials on Netflix and they're not there, but I have no idea how long they were supposed to be there. There's no connection with Netflix. Do you have, when I watch your documentary, can you call Amazon Prime and say, hey, how many viewers have I had?
No.
No, all these fucking people are completely, you can't call Uber, all these unreachable people that you have to use an app.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I got to appreciate the con.
I had one, you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to Dropbox. I had a Dropbox issue and I made 2 actual phone calls to their customer service. It was like 3 weeks ago to 2 different people. The first one was just like this chipper British person who solved all of my problems. And then I did everything. And then before I like pulled the trigger on hitting a crucial button and didn't want to lose all my stuff, I called again just to make sure. And another delightful like Brit walked me through everything. And it was the best customer service I'd ever experienced in my entire life. I didn't even know that still existed anymore. So shout out to Dropbox for still doing that.
I'm on board.
And shout out to Doug Stanhope, DougStanhope.com. Check out his books, his specials. Deadbeat Hero was one of the ones that was just formative years for me. I had just started comedy and holy shit.
That's the one where I had just got to an age where I had some points of view. And one of the ones when I went back, I was like, fuck, that's
so good.
16 years old and that still holds up.
That's at the Velveeta room, right? Or am I thinking of a different one?
Yeah, that's the Velveeta room.
The old Velve, before the 8 renovations.
Was that the one where you go?
No. Velveeta room is word of mouth.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of terrible. That has some terrible in it. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
No, I know which one you're
Deadbeat
talking
Heroes.
about.
Yeah, it's 2004. It's in Pioneer Square in Seattle. I did that one. Black and white.
Was that the one where you go like halfway through, you ask the audience what your name is? It was so funny. You're like, and you're all here to say, what's my name? And no one.
No, that was my Comedy Central half hour.
Oh,
that didn't, but that couldn't be because when I did my Comedy Central half hour, that was 2001, March 16th. I know because my dad died the next day. I did. They have the fluffer. When you see a Comedy Central half hour or hour, whatever, and it's someone you don't know, neither does the crowd.
Yeah.
So they have the warm-up guy come out. Hey, and when he comes out, what are you gonna do? You can do better than that. It's like 1,200 people going screaming. And I go, wow, it sounds like all my fans are here. And they go, and I go, quickly, what's my name? Dead silence. And they cut it from, hey, it sounds like all my fans are here into the worst awkward cut. So what about whatever my opening joke was? They took out the whole, what's my name, dead silence. Fucking frauds.
No.
My Comedy Central half hour special, I had a bit. I wore a shirt specifically because it had this patch. I'd bought this shirt online and then I didn't know until I got it out of the box that it had a patch on it that said "Too tough to die." And I just thought that was the fucking dumbest thing ever. And I wrote this bit about it. Because I didn't know it before I was at the Comedy Studio and someone's like, and it was my first time wearing the shirt and someone was like, hey, what's up with this fucking patch? And I was like, oh no. And I wrote a bit about it on the spot. It was so good. I used it on Comedy Central. Then they couldn't get the rights to use the patch. And so I walk out there and I'm like, hey, I bought this shirt, and then cut to whatever the fucking next bit is. Like, okay. All right. Well, Doug, this is a dream.
When's the last time anyone watched anything comedy-wise on Comedy Central?
Oh, my God. It's been a while.
2011 is the last recorded view.
All right. Yeah. I used to watch Tosh.0, amused the shit out of me on
me too.
A marathon hangover, and now Impractical Jokers has taken its place. but I don't watch anything funny on TV.
South Park is still good.
Yeah, but then they get into the you have to. It's serialized. Is that the right?
Yeah,
way
I
to
think
say
so.
it?
Yeah, you never know where to find it now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the ads are longer
they're
than
not
the show.
standalones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
All right.
they do a bunch of like web content and stuff now, but it's like it used to be like there'd be 5 people deciding what show was going to go on Comedy Central, and now there's one person figuring out what's going to go on Comedy Central and 5 other networks. Like those things are just going away.
I've got to an age where I realize I'm never going to learn anything new. I'm never going to get on fucking Zulu Plus or fucking, I'm never going to figure out how to scan a QR code or, I thought,
Zulu Plus. It's like African Hulu or something.
whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know enough. It's just like songs on my iPod. I know enough. I'll catch it when I can.
Yeah.
All right,
You guys are fantastic. I had a blast.
You were great too. Listeners,
Thank you.
make sure and scan the QR code and you'll have free access to all of Doug Stanhope's stuff.
I do Twitter. I'm at Doug Stanhope on Twitter. That's it. I try to do output only because one awful comment, but someone tells me all the good things and it leaves out the bad things.
Yeah, awesome.
Can Doug say the closing line?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
bye-bye now. Oh, that's my podcast.
That's all right. Well, until next time.
Oh, you have to say keep on.
What's my closer?
You have to say keep on salivating, honeys.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's try it again.
I see what you're trying to do, Ramin. Okay, we do a Pavlov.
Now, one more question.
Yeah.
One more question.
Hit me with it.
What's your next thing? You're doing this. You did the broken feet. You did the dogs fucking. You did psychedelics. Now you're doing science. Do you have a clue where you're going next?
Ramin and I are doing quite a bit of stuff with this. We're going to live tour with a show, and I have.
It's not going to last, Shane. What are you going to do after science?
I after science is
Race.
done.
Do interesting ideas about race.
I have a bunch of stuff lined up. I have some fun things I'm putting together. Yeah.
Butt fucking and heroin together.
Exactly. So
Chocolate and peanut butter.
we normally do this. We decided at the beginning of the show that we are going to put in a Pavlovian cue to people. So we always say until next time, and then we say keep on salivating, honeys.
Wait. Oh, God damn it. What is it? Because I want to be this dick on Twitter. What was today's? Pavlovian clue was, I think it was slosh.
Slosh?
What does it mean?
Oh, Wordle.
Oh.
I just want to put the wordle of the day.
But this comes out
random
later.
tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. Every day that it comes out, I want to figure it out and then just put a tweet out. Today,
all right. So you gotta. I'm gonna say until next time, or Ramin is, and then you're going to say keep on salivating, honeys.
How about you say until, and then I say next time.
All
And
right.
then he says-
Until.
Wait, I want to do it until next time.
Okay.
All right. You do it.
Well, until next time.
Keep on,
Keep on
salivating,
salivating,
honeys.
Keep on salivating, honeys.
Diggity hot dog damn. Our first guest episode went off without a hitch. Like you said earlier, we shot for the moon and we got the sun. We got the STANHOPE. And it's there. You just heard it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. What do you mean hope you enjoyed it? I know you enjoyed it. If you're new to this world, maybe you didn't know about us and you're just kind of tuning into a STANHOPE episode, and you're like Stanhope plus some other guys who got him on the show. We are Mind Under Matter. I'm Ramin Nazer. This is Shane Mauss. Shane does a science podcast called Here We Are, where he interviews scientists. I do an artist mystic podcast called Rainbow Brain Skull. I talk to mystics, artists, those types of people, and then we come together on Mind Under Matter to discuss what's really going on behind all the science through the lens of mysticism, through the lens of everythingness. And you can hear even more of us on our Patreon. That's how we support our show. 0 ads, 0 child slave labor yet. But the only way we can support our show is through Patreon, and that's patreon.com/mindunderpod. Get bonus content, access to the Discord, suggestions for episodes, easy opportunities to have your own episode even. So just check it out.
You get your own episode.
Just check it. Just check it out. It's Doug Stanhope has co-signed all these messages that I say right now. So
and speaking of things Doug Stanhope has co-signed, check out my documentary Psychonautics, a comics exploration of psychedelics. It's free on Amazon Prime if you want to check it out. I know a lot of the listeners on here are like have lots of psychedelic questions for us, and always love when we talk about the topic, and many wish that we explored it more. Well, you're in luck. We have a Bicycle Day episode coming out really soon. Bicycle Day is April 19th. I think we're going to shoot for putting it out on April 18th, that Monday before, just to get you in the mood and talk about the history of Bicycle Day, the discovery of LSD, and related subject matter. So if you want to get geared up for that, watch my documentary Psychonautics, and thank you guys for all of your support. We'll see you next week.